Looks like you've been missing a lot of work lately.
I wouldn't say I've been missing it, Bob.
What would you say you do here?
God damn it. Bob, we love playing here tonight. My brother's ready.
It helps if you think of it as a game, Bob. Every game has a winner and a loser.
You must possess strength to inflict pain, Bob.
Yo, welcome to the TwoBobsCast, episode 54, rock and metal podcast, coming to you weekly live on YouTube, doing a new band, A to Z, going through their discographies, ranking them for you, talking about concerts, talking about the bands, the history, everything that we can dig up for these guys. Once again, I am here with my partner, Mr. H. How you doing, Mr. H?
I'm doing really good, man. I'm doing really good. This was another tough week of listening to stuff for the podcast, of podcast research and listening. This was a tough one. So
yeah,
we're back to back on our two bands, but I'd say slightly better than the last one, but it was still really. I mean, we're talking very small degrees of difference, but anyhow, here we are. We're doing them. 10 million monthly listeners is nothing to sneeze at. So
yeah, definitely somebody's
especially
listening
for a
to
band hasn't really done anything new in 13 years. They've been done for 13 years and still have 10 million monthly listeners. So that's
right.
a lot.
Yep, absolutely. Of course, the band Mr. H is talking about today, we are looking into INXS. John, we were hoping that you'd be here today as our resident in the comments expert of INXS. Have you got what we need? Yes, we do. We got you need. We give what you need. Right? Or is that how he sings it? I think. They got some earworms for sure. There's no doubt about it. Some catchy stuff. Some huge hits.
Hope your fingers are limbered up, John. We're going to need your input on a lot of this here because you're the resident INXS fan amongst the three of us. So
yes, so yeah, absolutely.
I like them, but not nearly as much as you do.
Yeah, I didn't. I
John
don't know.
knows, not you. Or
yeah,
John.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll get into these albums. I can't say that INXS has a new fan from this side over here, but. You know, I there was a few songs I guess I didn't recognize that was from them.
Brian's with you
that I heard, but
he could just give up because he doesn't do a podcast.
Yes, no, he kind of gave me the heads up on that. He's like, heard
it got better after.
It's like I tried. Well, yeah, no. As we're gonna find out here very soon, those couple that he got through, not some of my favorite music ever. So
I believe those are 10 and 9 for me, but we'll get there.
Oh, spoiler! Oh, Mr. H.
Spoiler. I ruined it.
Now all of our fans are going to run away and hide.
All right, you know what? So you know what we do now? We just skip those two and go to the one after that.
All right.
I believe all four of us here would be in agreement on that one, right, John?
Yeah. You guys let me know. Well, Brian, you listen to two of them, so okay.
First 2 hour awful. There you go. So we can just skip them.
Okay. All right,
we'll
Mr. H. Real
quick.
Yeah, real quick.
Let's go.
What do you got about INXS?
All right, founded in 1977 in Sydney, Australia by the Ferris brothers, 3 of them, Andrew, John, and Tim. Andrew is a keyboard player, John's a drummer, Tim guitar player, along with one of the coolest names I think ever in the history of music.
Yeah.
Gary Beers. 2 Garys, double Gary. One with
Gary
2 R's
with
and
2
one
R's.
with 1 R.
Yeah, 1 R.
And Beers is the last name. I mean, come
cool.
on, man. Can that be real? I didn't look up if it's real. I didn't want to dig that deep into it. I just loved it. So I'm like, that's great. On bass. And let me see, Michael Hutchence as a vocalist, one of the really, really great, maybe underrated frontmen. In I guess this is mostly rock, or at least the stuff we like.
Yeah, it's
Is
rock, I would
rock,
say.
I guess, but
Yeah.
it definitely kind of goes all over the place. And the vocalist and main lyricist, Michael Hutchence, rest in peace, and Kirk Pengilly, sax and guitar player, kind of multi-instrumental guy. And the cool thing is, there's not going to be a lot of switching in and out of guys, because this lineup remained for the same for the 20 years until Michael Hutchence's death in 1997. And that's where we're going to stop reviewing albums, was after his death. They really only had one album of new material after that, with a different singer from a TV show that we will touch on a little bit, because the TV show was fantastic. But I think we even covered some of that last week, or in the Heart episode. So anyway, that's all I got. So into album number one, unless anybody has any objection.
Nope. Let's get rolling.
Into album number one, called INXS. Released October 13th, 1980. What I found was really weird is these guys, apparently, I think half of their albums were released in October, and one was like September 25th. There's a whole bunch of these released in October, and I was like, did they do that on purpose? Like, very, very strange. But anyway, October 13th, 1980, 10 songs. They were together for 3 years at this point. This was produced by Duncan McGuire and the band themselves. Very new wave, and I put dancey. I
Yeah.
mean, that's a terrible term. Like, it's not, but that's the only thing I could really come up with. It's not my type of thing. I mean, there's some ska in there. If you listen to ska, like it's just, I don't know. It's just really new wave, pop dance stuff. And it's just not my type of thing, but there is some stuff I like, and it really isn't terrible. It's just not really my genre of music. So the album was exclusive to Australia for 4 years without an international release from them until 1984. So this was real underground. If people had access to this from Australia over here, like in 1980, I don't know if you'd even heard this in the dance clubs back then, but I was 8, so I wasn't obviously out there. But they changed their name from the Ferris Brothers, which I guess makes a lot of sense, right? There's
Yeah.
three,
Right.
half the band they're all related, to INXS at the request of Gary Morris, who Gary Morris was the manager of Midnight Oil, who people might know is no, it is terrible. He's a man. He was the manager of Midnight Oil, the band from Australia. If you've heard that "Beds Are Burning" song, that's a really good song. They do have a couple good songs, but I wasn't really a huge fan of them either. But it was early '80s also, and then signed a record deal with the former manager of AC/DC, so also Australian. So there's definitely some Australians helping Australians in here, mate. So, um, even Michael Hutchence said that this band was really young and struggling to find their sound at this time, which we'll hear over the next 3 albums. They really seem to kind of struggle to find what it was that they wanted to do, or what really fit them, or what was popular. I'm not really sure what they were going for, but dancey if you don't know how to dance. Okay, John, well, that's fair enough. So what would you call it? Like, would you have a name for a dance to call it? Is there an INXS dance that you do when you're listening to them in particular? Or I'm confused as to what I should call it, but if you come up with something better, please let me know. My favorites on this one are Just Keep Walking and Wishy Washy, because those are the two most guitar driven songs on here. Neither one of them is great. They're just highlights for me on this album, because I'm like, hey, there's some guitar work here that I actually don't mind, but it's still just not really my type of thing as a whole. Skippers, roller skating, and body language. Those are the two that were the furthest out there for me. And I'm like, boy, I'm not ever going to come back to this album again. But those two, I mean, and the next time, if there ever is a next time I listen to this, I'm definitely skipping those two. So I have this as just a C, I guess, as far as their catalog goes, not overall to what I like, but as far as just these 10 albums, I have this kind of as a C. Like, I don't think it's quite the worst. Like, it gets a little worse for me, but it's just not really my thing. But there's at least a couple guitar driven tracks here that that I thought were I can listen to this at least. At least there's that, but nothing I'd really come back to or that stands out to me. So number 9 for me out of 10, and just a C rating. Again, two that I thought were decent, and 2 that I really didn't like. The rest is just kind of there. So, what did you think of the self-titled INXS?
Yeah, not a huge fan of this. Obviously, I'm not
Fair.
bouncing off the walls listening to this type of music. So I was talking to Brian S about this, and this is what he was saying. Somewhere between OAR, Grateful Dead, like a college jam band. Like I can see that. What I thought of was
A college jam band from 1980.
yeah, well, right. What's that guy that I Can Make Your Hands Clap guy? I can't remember the name of that band. But that's what it reminds me of, except for like 80s production. So it doesn't sound polished like a pop song now, but it's very poppy. I don't think Hutchence sounds anything like he's going to sound.
Agreed.
He's nowhere near ready at this point. But again, they're all obviously very green. Not really much. I Just Keep Walking, I guess, did stand out. At least it was kind of catchy to me. Like I was humming it a little bit. Fits in the Tantrums. Thank you, both of you, Brian and John. Both get credit for that.
Fitz, Fritz, whoever.
Yeah.
Fitz or Fritz.
Thank you guys. Fitz and Fritz. But yeah, thank you guys. That's what it reminded me of. It was very poppy, but yet, had the keyboard stuff and the
great band name, by the way.
Yeah,
Fits in the Tantrums.
It is pretty cool.
Awesome.
Just Keep Walking was about the only thing that really stood out to me. Skippers, the one thing I will say about INXS is even this stuff, the earlier stuff that I don't think is that great, it's all manageable. It's all 2-3 minute songs, 10 songs, 33 minutes. Even going through this, it was quick and easy, painless. Even though I didn't love it, it wasn't that bad. So
that's what I feel like made this better than Heart to me. Is this it was so much easier to get through. That album just felt fast.
Yeah,
like I listened to the first one, I'm like, wow, okay, that one's done already. Let's go to the next one. It was pretty quick.
Yeah. But this one's the bottom of the barrel for me. This one is just, I'd say like a C-. I don't want to give them a D. Me, because it's not bad. Like I could see if you're into this type of music, you might come back to this and say, cool. But I think anybody that's a fan of INXS probably has this at the bottom, especially if you like their stuff later on, even though they do have a lot of dance elements, a lot of synthesizer, keyboard type things like electric drums and stuff like that. A lot of those things carry over, but there's a lot more guitar influence later on. That's just not really here. So
if you have that as a top 3 album in your catalog, you are one of the gigantic, biggest INXS fans ever. There's just no way.
Yeah, I would think so. But yeah, number 10 for me, C-. I think everything else is at least a little better for me. So this one's just kind of where I started at 10. So
all right,
that's where we're at.
On to Underneath the Colors, released, you guessed it, in October 19th, this time, not 13th, 1981.
In the year of our herd.
In the year of our herd. 10, that's a good one. 10 songs again. Richard Clapton, no relation to Eric, I don't believe, that I could find anyway. Produced, Kirk Pengelly said that the album suffered from not really being prepared to record a second album. Michael Hutchence said he really liked it and gave Clapton credit for really helping shape the album and sound, but I don't think he really shaped a whole lot if they didn't use him again. And there's 2 guys later that they used, one in particular, that really helped shape their sound and made them just world phenomenon pop stars, rock stars. So I'm not sure Richard Clapton was really that influential. But anyway, he was probably just being nice. Outsiders gave Hutchence credit for maturing in songwriting and the band kind of finding their sound, but I'm really not hearing it that much here. The band was gaining momentum in their success in Australia. I mean, they basically, became a band and they were called the Ferris Brothers. They were playing pubs and clubs and stuff in Australia and got popular. And with what they were doing, which late 70s, early 80s was this kind of music, and then recorded an album and then decided they were getting a little bit more popular and then put another album out that was sort of the same. For me, a lot of bass line driven tracks here and a lot less guitar for me, which I thought was odd. So that's why I have this one at the bottom of my barrel. They just stripped the guitar. The guitar is there, but it's like an accentuated like instrument. Like it's just bass driven along with keyboard is pretty much all this is. So my favorites are Fairweather Ahead, I guess. I mean, it has a decent feel and kind of vibe to it. It kind of has a darker vibe to it. I don't know if this is like a depression thing and Fairweather Ahead being like there's better times ahead, kind of, you know. So, but I felt it kind of had like a dark feel to it, and I didn't mind that song that much. It's completely not my thing without really any guitar in there. So, hey, John said that's a great point, John. He said they were kind of the anti ACDC for people that wanted new wave in Australia because, yeah, ACDC was probably dominating, Australia, and for all the 70s, all the way up to 1980 and 1980, obviously with Back in Black.
Yep.
So, yeah, maybe this was just like an alternative thing. Like, hey, let's just go listen to anything that's not ACDC, and that was this for sure. So that's a great point. So my skippers on here are Horizons, Big Go Go, all those years of learning. That was actually the name of a song. Like I didn't just put that in here. Like that's actually the name of a song. And I did not wait. Is it the name of the song? All those years of learning. I don't even see it listed as a song here anymore. Well, I don't know. Maybe it was like a bonus track, which I listed even more than I needed to.
Oh, boy.
Anyway, yeah, I don't see that one listed as a song here. Anyway, that shows you how much of an INXS fan I am. So I have this as a C minus. This is number 10 for me. They went even more kind of dance pop on this one. I feel like had some weird instrumentation and just really overall lacking any real guitar work from the first album. I didn't care much for this album. So and I guess just to learn again. I guess maybe I had the song title wrong. I don't know. Maybe Wikipedia's got it wrong. I don't know. But I'm looking at it says just to learn again. I thought it was called All Those Years of Learning, but anyway, I didn't care for that one at all. So I have this one number 10, C minus. What did you think of Underneath the Colors?
Very, very similar. I guess I feel like they've maybe grown a little with songwriting here, but to me, but to me, it's still a lot of the same. Not very good. We get our first ballad on here. I can't remember which one it is, to be completely honest with you. We get our first ballad here, and I just honestly, I think it's not good for this band. And even on their more popular albums, I think their dance type songs, like a little bit better pace, bass line, I think it's better for them. And again, as somebody that, John, you'll have to kind of tell us later on with your ballady stuff, I just don't think they're very good at ballads, but that's just from my taste for what I
agree for the most part, except for one song.
One song, okay.
One song that I absolutely love, and I'll talk a bit about that when we get there. But
"Stay Young," I think is probably the best song so far that they have done. I guess it was a single. I had never heard it before, but I actually was like, okay, I could see hearing this on the radio in the early 80s and like, okay, like this, it's got a funky bass line to it. I'm like, all right, this is pretty cool. That song for me kind of split the tie between the first two for 9th and 10th. So this one's got number 9 for me. Just again, it's just not something that I want to listen to. Okay, John, that makes me feel better that you said, the ballads ruined them. They had a good one and they kept chasing it. Yeah,
totally agree with that. That one that they had, they do chase that on pretty much every album after it. You definitely can tell that.
It's just a thing for me where listening to these albums, a ballad will come on and I'd be like, oh no, guys,
no, anything but this. Give me the dance stuff. Give me dancey, please.
Yeah, there was a few killer album. Well, I thought for them, like killer type beats for what they did. I'm like, man, they're nailing it. And then they do something else. I'm like, no, don't do that. Like, go back and do it. But this one, another C minus. Again, it literally was pretty much on par with the first two albums. This one, I liked "Stay Young" better than anything off the first album. So it just goes to number 9 for me. C minus. Both of these, like you said, probably never would listen to these again. It was a fun exercise, I guess, to listen to them once just to see where they came from, their beginnings. But I won't come back to them. So yeah, number 9 for me on Underneath the Colors, C minus.
Okay. Yeah, and these are albums, honest to God, these are albums I have never listened
Never.
to. Ever.
Nope.
So I've heard every other album after this, at least parts of it, if not the whole thing. I have never listened to those two albums. So you're right. I mean, it's a cool little experience because you know what they become, and I like to try to look for those things in the older albums, and I wasn't finding it for the most part on those two. But you start finding it here in these albums, which is, to me it's kind of cool. Like, okay, I hear it right there. Like, that's it. Like, Michael Hutchence growing in vocally, that kind of stuff. Like, man, there it is. I heard it, and it's not always there, but it's cool to hear the growth in there. Even if the music really isn't my thing. Anyway, on to Shabu Shuba. Once again, October 13th, 1982. Yeah. I don't know what is with this October stuff. It's crazy. I just
taking a
couldn't
year.
believe it, right? So this is 10 songs again. This is 1982, and this was produced by Mark Opitz. Mark Opitz is going to do a few of these albums by them. This one and a few later. The band wasn't really convinced that Opitz was their guy to produce this whole album, and they went searching for a new producer. And everyone that they wanted was busy. They wanted, I don't know who they wanted, but they actually went, Michael Hutchence and I think Andrew Ferris went to the United States to try to find a different producer. Because I think, by this time, I think they were making a little bit of money and they were trying to just go out and, find a guy that they thought would help bring stuff out of them. But they couldn't. And Opitz did the first single off of this called The One Thing that actually became a pretty popular song for them. And everybody kind of told them when they were out looking for producers and couldn't find one that Opitz doing The One Thing for them was probably the best that they were going to find because they thought that song sounded really good and that he seemed to fit them. So that kind of convinced them and they went with him. And then after the album was recorded, it was kind of said that Opitz was the first producer that they felt was able to actually capture a bit of what the band felt like they sounded live. So I thought that was pretty cool that they weren't sure at first and went searching for another guy, ended up with this guy, and then really kind of liked what he did, and then he actually used him later too. So I felt like that was kind of a cool little story there. The song "Don't Change" was covered by the Goo Goo Dolls, which is the first time I had ever heard that song. And I still believe their version is better, but it is an absolutely great song on this album. It's the last track. The album title, Shabu Shaba, is onomatopoeia of a rhythm in the song Spy of Love. So if you were wondering where that came from, this is where, like I mentioned, and I mentioned it here for a reason, this is kind of Michael Hutchence starts to grow into his future vocal styles on this one in a couple of spots, not all over the album, but in a few spots. And for instance, The One Thing, the first song, is in particular, I'm like, okay, I can hear it. This is what this guy is going to sound like later. And that I thought was kind of cool. So very strange production, though, on this one. At least on Spotify. Like, I kind of wish I didn't really spend the time to go try to listen to it on YouTube and other places, but it was really weird. I actually went back and forth between songs a few times because The One Thing sounds great. And then to look at you, the next song, it's really quiet. Like somebody turned the volume way down on my headphones. I'm like, what is going on here? And then it's like that until you get to Don't Change at the end. And then Don't Change sounds really good. And I kept going back. I'm like, so I went back to the 9th track and I'm like, nope, still sounds like crap. And then Don't Change sounded better. I'm like, is something wrong with my headphones? Or like, it was really weird. So I don't know if that was just a Spotify thing, but it really threw me off. Like I said, The One Thing is loud and it sounds great and it just drops way off. Did you get that too?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just me, man. I was like, man, that's so strange. Never really experienced anything that big before. There's been definitely songs you could tell were produced at different times and had like a little more range or stuff was a little higher in one track than another. But this was just like, it just dropped off the face of the earth. Very strange. My favorites on this one are The One Thing and then Don't Change. Again, Don't Change is a really, really good song. And that's the first time out of all the songs I listened to, that's the first time I can really say that with this band. Is that is a really good song, even more than The One Thing. I like The One Thing too, but Don't Change is a fantastic song. I'm like, man, that is a really good song. Skippers for me, Black and White, and then also Jan's song, kind of a weird reggae ska type of thing. And that song just doesn't really fit on this album. Like, it might have fit on the previous album. Maybe it was a leftover. It might have fit kind of previously, but it didn't really fit on this one. It just kind of threw me off. It was the 8th song, and I'm like, what is this? So, but anyway, this one I have is a C plus. This is number 5. This is kind of the middle of the range. It sounds a bit more like Future INXS, but without as much energy. But the guitars got brought back forward, which was a good thing for me. But just, yeah, really interesting production, if that's the way the whole album really sounds, which I almost can't believe it does, the way Spotify has it. Like, if I had the vinyl, I can't imagine that it sounds that far off once you get from one song to the next. But
Right.
I don't know. So anyway, that kind of threw me off, but I didn't want to dock him for it because it almost sounds like that almost has to be a Spotify thing. There's no way it was recorded that way, I don't think. So anyway, I have this right in the middle, number 5, C plus. What did you think of Shabu Shuba?
Yeah, I'm right along with you. I think this is an important album for them, just from me listening. I don't know that it is or not, but to me, it feels like this is the first big step in the direction of where they would go. And, to me, it was much more enjoyable than the first two. So to me, it was like a big step forward. And it looks like it's the first one that's kind of used Michael Hutchence and Andrew Ferris as like the main songwriters. And I feel like that is probably their pocket. It looks like those two is obviously the singer, the guitar player doing the melodies and stuff. I feel like this is like the spot where they hit that. So they have most of the writing credits together. They wrote The One Thing, just the two of them. The whole band did do Don't Change. So that was, that's a little different. But
First guy listed is Gary Beers.
yeah, Gary
Love it.
Beers.
It's
Yeah, that's
so
a great
good.
name.
Oh, man.
I agree with you. The One Thing is really, really good. Don't Change. Also, I knew from the Goo Goo Dolls version. I didn't know it was a cover until later on.
Me neither, man.
I was like,
that's a really good song. And I honestly, I could not find what album it's even on for the Goo Goo
Yeah.
Dolls. Is it even on an album?
I don't think it is. I don't think it is.
I feel like I just heard it live, and I was like, man, that's a
Probably
really
on
good
a
song.
soundtrack or something. Probably. But
John will know.
the one song I really liked off this that wasn't one of those, I liked Golden Playpen. To me, that one it's a strange name, but I thought
I didn't hate that one.
It was a pretty funky type song. And again, these are the songs that kind of lead me to, okay, this is where they're going, and I can see it. But a big step forward for them. I agree with the production, a little bit weird. Totally agree with you. One Thing sounds like super loud and almost more clear. I do like the addition of like the saxophone and stuff in here. I think that's pretty cool. Using it with the synth driven rock that they do. When they were doing the ska stuff, the sax wasn't what I would say good sax. You got to have the good sax, not the bad sax.
Everybody needs good sax.
Yeah, absolutely. But this one, I have it right along with you. I have it about a C. I have it number 5 as well. So right in the middle. Again, to me, it just seems like a huge step forward for them. Very important album that I see. Obviously, they needed the album to kind of get in the direction, I think, of where they needed to go. So number 5 and a C.
All right. So for me, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. We get The Swing, the first album that didn't come out in October. This one came out March 21st, 1984. 10 songs here. This was Nick Launay and Nile Rodgers. Nile Rodgers has done, I don't know, he's responsible for like 750 million albums sold or something between recording with Chic and actually more producing for just huge acts along the way. But he did, as far as I know, he just did the one song with them, though, the first single called
Original Sin.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think he only did that song with them, but he's listed obviously as co-producer here. Again, this is kind of similar to the first 2 albums with a stronger emphasis on the dance rhythms again. It's kind of, this one I feel like Where the first two albums, I kind of feel like they were kind of doing their own thing. It didn't really sound like exactly like everything else at the time. But this one, I feel like this is an album of its time. This is a sign of the time with the synth pop being so popular at this time in music. And I feel like they just kind of put one out that sounded like those in like 83, 84. I remember John was telling me that this was kind of like their funk album. And I did read that in a few places too. So I think he's kind of dead on with that one. But it was just so like the dance rhythms are just so prevalent here that it just kind of made it hard for me. So it was like two steps forward on the last album, which I kind of liked, and then kind of a step back again to kind of more what they were doing before that for me. So Original Sin song they recorded with Nile Rodgers, as I said. They kind of gave him credit for unlocking what the band could become. Daryl Hall even is on backing vocals from Hall and Oates on this one. And even Daryl Hall said, he said, I don't know why I was there. He's like, these guys can all sing. I don't know why they needed me. He said, but I did it anyway. So yeah, that's also good, John. Early Prince. I totally agree with that. It's just kind of, yeah, it's definitely of its time, I think. Um, Critics kind of called this the perfect bridge between their early albums and kind of what was to come with their mega hit albums. And I'm not sure I really agree with that. I feel like the last album was kind of more of a bridge to that for me, because there's more stuff on there that sounds like the later stuff and not so much this one. But that's I've just read that from in a couple places from critics. Some just different sounding stuff here, like Dancing on the Jetty, maybe some, probably like maybe some like Depeche Mode, sounding stuff, I guess, which was kind of popular at the time, and maybe even a little bit of early U2 sounding stuff in there too. I caught a little bit of that in Original Sin. Like Original Sin does have an INXS feel to it, but also has a little bit of an early U2 kind of sound to it also, which makes sense, because it's 1984. So I'm sure that they were a bit of an influence on them as well because they were getting bigger at the time. And this band was still not big yet. So Skippers, I Send a Message. This sounds like something that should have been on the Beverly Hills Cop soundtrack while Axel was driving around Beverly Hills looking for Surge. Johnson's Aeroplane, I didn't care for at all. And Love Is, again, I think that's another one of the ballads that you were talking about. I was like, no, thank you on that one. Love Is What I Say. I didn't care for that one either. So there's three skippers here for me for sure. Rating, C. I have this as a C. This has number 8. It's very keyboard driven mostly here. It's very of its time, although there are some INXS moments on here. It sounds more like upcoming stuff, but just a few moments. I don't care for most of it though. Just not much memorable stuff on it that it can just stay in 1984 for all I care. So I don't think I'll be coming back to this one really at all for any of these songs. So what did you think of The Swing?
Yeah, to me,
Swing and a Miss?
yeah, it wasn't great. To me, they polished it up a little bit. I think the production's a little bit more polished.
Okay.
But to me, very poppy, like very pop sounding record. And that to me, that was the part that kind of was a letdown to me. Like I had known what was coming in the more popular records coming up, so I was like, okay, so the last one got us a little bit closer to rock sounding, and then now this sounds more pop. So I was disappointed for sure. I do like Original Sin. Not a whole lot that really was memorable on this one to me. Yeah, like they tried some of the poppy oozy ballads, Swing and a Miss for that too. Yes, this is another one. I kind of lumped this in with the first two. Just poppy, just something that it's not my style of music, not something that I would listen to or come back to. So really not a lot of skippers on here, but not really anything that I like. I had it a spot a little better than you at number 7. I had it about a C also. A lot of C's with this band, especially early on, but just another one. It just, listening to it, it was not really my genre. It was just a lot of pop sounding stuff. So Yeah, to me, number 7 and a C. Again, the good stuff's coming up, so I'm excited for that.
Yep. Yeah, he said a lot of C's. I have a C, a C minus, a C, and a C plus so far on the 4 albums. So
Yeah.
yeah, you're definitely hit that right on the head there. All right, so the next album, back to October. Thank goodness, right? October 14th, 1985, 11 songs. This was produced by Chris Thomas along with the next couple of albums. This album kind of marks the beginning of the off and on again alliance with Chris Thomas. Um, as recording came to completion, this is a great story that I never heard before. As the recording came to completion, and how many times do you hear stuff like this too? That's why it makes it so cool. Chris Thomas was concerned there was no hit on this album, so he gave the band, probably mostly Michael Hutchence and Andrew Ferris, a day to try to come up with something else, like something else we can add to this. So Michael and Andrew poured over riffs and recorded song parts that they had left over that they didn't use. And they came across this one called Funk Song Number 13. And Thomas heard it and he encouraged them to use that song. As he said, Chris Thomas said, I could listen to that groove for 10 minutes. Let's work with that one. So, and it became What You Need, which was a gigantic hit for them after they were given a couple more days to flesh it out. Like, what a cool little story. Like, how many times, like, we told the story of Pour Some Sugar on Me, where Mutt Lange heard, Elliot just playing it like down the hall somewhere, and he's like stopped in, and their album was basically done. He's like, "What is that?" He's like, "It's just something I'm working on." He's like, "Dude, get in here. We're gonna work on that one right now." And it became just a gigantic hit for them. Same thing with this. It's crazy how that kind of stuff happens. I absolutely love these little stories like that. I love that stuff. But it became their first top 5 hit in the U.S. and just really launched them globally. Hutchence finally kind of fully finds his voice here going forward, and the band just rounds into form, finding their sound. This, from here on, for the most part, they sound like INXS. The INXS that I knew, that I heard, that it was inescapable, basically, in the mid to late 80s and early 90s. The critics, kind of agree with that, saying that this kind of completed the band's transition into a rock and roll singles band. I agree with that. Favorites on this one, What You Need, of course. What a difference, just what a great song, man. Darren. It's so good, man. It's so good. Listen Like Thieves is a great song also. But I also found a couple songs on this album that I didn't realize that I liked and that I will come back and listen to again. I like the song This Time, and I liked Red Sun a lot too. Red Sun is the last song on here. It's a little bit kind of heavier. Like, I really like those 2 songs also. And I hadn't really listened to this album much because, I heard What You Need way more than enough times on MTV and everywhere else. And Listen Like Thieves was kind of a secondary hit that I heard plenty of too. So I never really listened to the whole album much. But I do like those 2 songs a lot also. Only one skipper for me here, sorry. Three Sisters, it's just too weird a song for me, man. It's just it's an instrumental, I guess, but it was weird, just really weird. So anyway, I have this one as rated as a B. I rated, I think, 3 albums as a B from them, and it was kind of tough to split hairs. I have this one as number 2. I don't like all of it, but there is some great stuff on here and lots more guitar, thank goodness, because that's what I needed from them. This time it is a really good song, John. I was just like, I was kind of surprised. I was like, wow, I actually found more songs on here that I like, so it was kind of cool. So this was definitely worth the listen. I have this as number 2 and just a solid B. What did you think of Listen Like Thieves?
Yeah, this is the first one I really liked. I had only heard What You Need. I have not heard any of the other songs.
You didn't recognize Listen Like Thieves?
Nope, I didn't, but I love it. It's a great song.
Yeah.
I love Kiss the Dirt. That's a really good song. This Time, like you mentioned, is awesome. I do like Biting Bullets. I thought was pretty good. Red Sun, you mentioned. I really like that one as well. And This Time, for sure. Very, very good. Three Sisters is really weird. I didn't understand what was going on with that.
Yeah.
Totally agree. definitely a really, really strong album. This is a B plus for me. Number two, I think that's where you had it too, right? Number two.
Yes.
Yeah, this is by far. I mean, I think their best album is their best by far. I think this is their best second album by far. Like, I don't think it's very close with those two, personally, but I really enjoyed this one. I was like, okay, this one I might come back to. This one is pretty strong, top to bottom. You know, a little weirdness in there. But yeah, it's not all great, but I think it all at least flows, and it all has enough guitar in it
Yeah.
with the synth beats and stuff. I think it's a really cool, mix between it. And Michael Hutchence he kills it. Like, you really kind of see here
Yeah.
where he becomes like the front man,
Yes.
And I know, this is about the time, obviously, that I started hearing about him because of What You Need being on MTV. I remember even as a little kid hearing all the wild stories about this guy. Like, he was crazy. I know it was a lot of drugs and alcohol and stuff like that. And I know his demise tragically came later with kind of all those things. So he was kind of known as a wild man, like, especially for this type of music. Like, you expected it from the Motley Crues and things like that to be like crazy, but this guy was kind of like the rock version of those bands.
A lot of Jim Morrison in this guy. He kind of
Yeah.
looks like him too, but I think a lot of Jim Morrison in this. In Michael Hutchence.
Super talented dude,
Yeah,
obviously.
absolutely.
Very, very talented. Here is got that baritone voice. It's just is really, really good. So this is a solid album. Like I said, I probably will come back and listen to this again. B plus, number 2 for me.
All right. I feel like with 11 songs, like they could have when they got What You Need on here, they should have removed Three Sisters. But in looking at the writers, this one was written by Tim Ferriss. It looks like solely. So
okay.
maybe that's why, he's one of the brothers, and they're like, hey, throw me a bone. Let me put one of these songs I wrote on here. So again, just kind of a miss as far as the song. It doesn't fit with the rest of them. It's just kind of weird, but that's probably why it's on there, I'm guessing. So, all right. So, hey, they're in October, right? So, hey, let's stick with October. So we had 2 October 13th, and October 14th, and October 19th. That's 5, right?
Yep.
And then now October 19th again, 1987 with Kick, 12 songs.
Can't say they don't work on a schedule,
right? It's crazy, man, just crazy. Every time I wrote them down, I'm like, am I looking at the right one? Am I looking at the old album again? I'm like, really? This is the same date?
Yeah.
So yeah, crazy. Chris Thomas again. This is Kick, 12 songs. This one was huge for them. 6 singles were released. 4 of them made it into the top 10. The album reached number 3 on Billboard, sold an estimated 20 million plus copies as of 2012. Like, that's gigantic, man.
Yeah.
That's just a huge album. This is where I wanted to talk about the ballad that I really like. Originally, the song Never Tear Us Apart was a piano ballad, but producer Chris Thomas had an idea to replace the piano with strings, and that was absolute genius. Absolute genius. Like, I love this song, and it's mostly because of that. It just sounds so cool. It sounds so, like, elegant. He said that, like, look, this was an already great song, that he just felt like needed a little something different because it was already a great song. He didn't want to change anything, but he just took the piano notes and put strings in there. And an already great song, but when you add the strings, it makes it so memorable and unique. There's no song that sounds like this one out there. Like, if it was just a piano ballad, I mean, all the hair metal bands had piano ballads coming out of their butts all over the place at this time. Nobody had one that was based on, like, with strings as a back. It just sounds so good. I love that song. Awesome. Loved it from the first time I heard it. Andrew Ferris thought up the riff. This is another cool story. Andrew Ferris thought up the riff for Need You Tonight while he was waiting for a cab to go to the airport to fly to Hong Kong, because Chris Thomas sent Andrew and Michael to Hong Kong for a couple weeks because he felt like the songwriting was kind of getting stale. And then he sent them to Hong Kong just to go write just off by themselves. So while he was waiting for the cab, he comes up with the riff for Need You Tonight, waiting for the cab to go to the airport. He told the driver to wait a minute while he went to go back in and grab something. He came back 45 minutes later. The cab driver was furious because he went up to the room and he recorded the riff while he was up there because he had to get it down right then so he didn't forget it. I'm like, that's another really cool story of about just an outstanding song and just a huge song for them too. And how it just kind of got written out of nowhere, just was standing there waiting for a cab. It just pops in his head. So my favorites on this album are the 4 hits, are the best songs. I don't always agree with that, but on this album, to me, the 4 hits are the best, the best songs, along with Mediate. New Sensation is probably my favorite INXS song. I absolutely love that song too, and I don't ever get enough of it. I don't ever get sick of it. Devil Inside's great. Need You Tonight is great, and Mediate. I guess the story with that one is it was a separate track that they recorded at a separate time, but Need You Tonight was playing in the studio when he was working with Mediate, working on mixing Mediate. So it just worked out timing wise that Need You Tonight ended and Mediate picked up when he started playing it, and he felt like he did something wrong. Like Chris Thomas said that he's like, I felt like, I'm like, is that song still playing? Because it was seamless how it just went together. So he made sure he put it together on the album, and that's how the video is done with both. So I thought that was a really cool story too on how those two ended up together. And it just continues right on from Need You Tonight. And it was written as a completely different track. So I thought it was a pretty cool story. But I like all the songs on this album to some degree. There's no skippers for me here, but the 4 hits are the best songs for me. New Sensation, Devil Inside, Need You Tonight, and Never Tear Us Apart. I have this as A-. This is easily my number 1. This is the best it gets for me with this band. What did you think of Kick?
Yeah, agreed. This is really, really good. A lot of stuff I didn't know that I knew. Obviously, the 3 in a row there. Everybody knows those songs. If you were alive in the 80s, you had heard them for sure. New Sensation, Devil Inside, Need You Tonight. Mediate, like you said, I heard that a bunch of times. I didn't even know what it was because it just came in right after I Need You Tonight. I remember watching the video on MTV, like you mentioned.
With all the cards. And that came from another, I don't know, it was Bob Dylan, I think. It came from another video with the cards with all I guess there's intentional errors they put in there too, just to kind of throw people off. But I thought that was pretty cool.
Yep. Totally agree that Never Tear Us Apart is phenomenal. That's the one that obviously they tried to chase after, and I think it really hurt some of these later albums, put a big dent in them when it could have been better. Chasing that song again, and they never do. John mentioned here Mystify. I totally agree. That was one of my ones that I really liked on here. A sneaky good song. Definitely like that funky piano part for sure. I like the title track Kick as well, and the closer Tiny Daggers I think is really, really good. Just top to bottom, really, really solid. I had it a solid A. It's not one that I would put as a perfect album by any means, but it deserves an A. I mean, they really put a really, really good collection of songs together here. By far the best album that they've done for sure. So number 1, easy number 1 for me for Kick. Unfortunately, this is the top of the mountain for them.
Yeah.
They do chase that ballad a lot, and it doesn't hold up after that. They can't find it. But Kick, phenomenal. I love that album.
Yeah, really good. I felt like it was A- for me because I felt like if there was one more song on here that I absolutely loved, I'd have made it an A. But like I said, I like all the other songs to varying degrees, but nothing kind of touches those 4 songs. Really 4.5 if you put Mediate in there, so that's why I have it as an A-. But yeah, I agree with you. Definitely A territory, regardless of whether you like this pop synth rock stuff or not. This is a fantastic album.
Yep.
So, and there's a reason why it was so popular. There's just so much good stuff in here. All right, so on to now. This is September 25th, 1990. They almost made it to October. They should have just waited a week, right? Put it out December 2nd.
Right.
I mean, come on, or October 2nd. So this is X. This the album's named because it marks the 10-year anniversary, I guess, since they released their first album, which I thought was kind of odd. Because the band's been around for 13 years. It's not their 10th album; it's their 7th album. So I don't know why. I don't know. Just they went with X. I guess maybe they couldn't find a name. So this is Chris Thomas again for the 3rd time, and I believe the last time. 11 songs on here. The band took a bit of a hiatus after the extensive touring for the Gigantic Kick album, worldwide tour. They went around the globe. I don't know, 2-3 times.
John mentioned seeing them at.
Oh
88
yeah, my bad.
Coliseum.
Sorry, I didn't see that. Yeah, we talked about that. We texted a little bit about that earlier. I kind of wish I was at that one too. I don't know why I wasn't. I don't know. Probably at the time, I felt my friends would have made fun of me. I don't know. I was 16,
Maybe,
so I was
yeah.
a little more impressionable. But yeah, kind of wish I was at that one as well. Who did you say opened for them too? Again, I can't remember. I know you told me. I sorry, I can't remember. But yeah, I wish I was at that. And like I said before, Michael Hutchence was an incredible frontman. Like I've seen many live performances by them. The guy is just incredible. Like he's got the energy, the look, the sound. Like his voice is great. He's a great songwriter. Like man, that dude, he had it all. Man, it's kind of sad that he offed himself in 1997. Like. I know suicide's not anything to joke about, but it's just sad, man. We could have had some more from him,
Oh yeah, Public Image Limited. That's
okay, yeah,
yeah.
you did tell me that. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know them well, so that's why I forgot it, I guess. But this album still did well, but not as well as Kick did. They kind of went, in Chris Thomas's words, they kind of went a little grandiose and epic, and kind of got rid of the funky stuff, which I feel like kind of it makes them, like you can't. I don't think you could take any of those elements out of there, or you start coming up with stuff that doesn't sound like them. Like there's still plenty on here that sounds a little bit like Kick, but there's some songs where they took a bit out of it, and you're like, well, kind of what were they doing here? Like it sort of sounds like them, but like why change? I don't know, but. So to hear the fact that he said that, it kind of made more sense to me that was kind of the missing piece there, like the Mystify, like he was saying with the funky kind of piano. Like you take that funkiness out of there at least a little bit, and you just lose kind of a little bit of who you are. So my favorites are Suicide Blonde. It's an absolutely great song. It's just more signature INXS excellence with that one. And I did like Disappear, and I liked Lately also. Those are my 3 favorite ones on here. Skippers, Know the Difference. I feel like they were just trying too hard on this one, and it didn't work. It just, the whole song felt forced to me. Like they were, again, chasing something that it just didn't feel like it worked. Like they were just trying too hard. And I didn't like On My Way either. So this one, again, I have as kind of a B. Same grade as Listen Like Thieves, but I just like it slightly less than that one. So I have this one as number 3 and a B. What did you think of X?
We're pretty close on this band. I feel like
yep.
This one obviously has the 2 awesome singles at the front you mentioned.
Yep.
But there's some stuff in here that it's a little strange. I know Bitter Tears was a single for them. I do not like it. The Stairs was weird to me.
Yeah.
I just feel like they're trying some different stuff here, and I'm just like, okay. But there's some solid stuff in here. It kind of baffles me that they didn't go for that Kick sound, like as big as it was. Some of the bands that we go over, like they have a huge album, and sometimes people will be like, it just sounds too much like it, try something different. I just wish they would have maybe pushed another album or 2 where they really went for that same, like you said, like the groovy type sound.
They had their own sound. They had their own thing. Like, why screw it up?
Yeah.
Like it's not like they put out an album that was real popular, but it sounded exactly like U2 or exactly. They had their own thing, and then they messed it up. That's what's it's so frustrating.
Yeah, but again, it's a solid album. It's number 3 for me too. So I'm with you. It's a little disappointing. I think those Kick and Listen to Thieves, I think, are perfect for where they're at. For this one to have been better, I think. But again, Suicide Blonde and Disappear, I think, are killer. I think they probably, and I can't put myself in 1990 picking this up, but I can't imagine putting this album on and hearing those two songs and getting super excited, like, oh yeah, like here we go, this is
Yeah.
Kick again.
Yeah.
And then like nothing else
And
really
then the
lived up
stairs
to it
hits
for
you.
me.
Then
Yeah,
you fall down the stairs on track
yeah,
3.
that's what I did. I fell down the stairs. Just not
That's a
really.
bad spot to put that song.
I know.
Oh, that's funny.
But yeah, I had, like I said, I had it right with you. Number 3, I had it about a B, regular B. So we're pretty close on this. Again, it's not a bad album. I definitely like it way more than any of the other stuff early on before Listen to Thieves. But again, there's another clear line here between those two albums, like I said, and then everything else. So number 3, a B for me.
Right. So then they put out a live album in 1991, which makes a lot of sense. And then they came right back in 1992. August 3rd. What are you doing? August? I mean, come on. 12 songs. Mark Opitz is back again, though. I think they just kind of wanted to, it feels like they wanted to get away from, I guess, popularity. I don't know, or what they were doing. Again, it baffles me, but they kind of go, again, further away than even the last album. They just went completely in another direction. And the band also, I guess, planned to not tour for this album, but to record the follow-up, which does come out in 1993, and then tour for both albums, which really hurt the promotion of this album. That's another questionable choice. Like, I don't know why you would do that, but it's almost kind of like they think they were. I don't know even know how to describe it. Like they think they wanted to try to do something else, but they're not really sure what to do. I don't even know. Like, my notes don't even make sense. They just, I feel like they're trying to find a new identity here to try to get away from what they were before, which again, I don't know why you would want to.
Well, I think they
that.
tried to shift. We're going from the 80s to the 90s here. And I think
and
they sense
that's part of it. They tried to reinvent themselves in the wake of kind of music changes, which is what you're saying going on in the world. So they tried different instruments, kind of a 60-piece orchestra. There's a sitar in there. Like they just tried too much different stuff. But I mean, it's just, I don't know. It kind of baffles me. They tried to go with kind of a more raw sound to their music too, versus kind of the polished sound that they had under Chris Thomas. But again, that's what worked for you. So it's change for change's sake. Like, be INXS, like I guess they felt like it's not like if they wouldn't put a grunge album out, okay, I could understand it, right? If they tried to grunge themselves up, but they didn't. They went in a totally different direction. Like, they were trying to go against all that, which then it doesn't make sense. You were already not that before. Like, why would you go further away from what you did well and just to try to do something different? But anyway, it just didn't work for me. My favorites on this one, I guess, Heaven Sent is okay, and All Around. That's kind of a good guitar track, but skippers for me are Taste It. I'm not sure what that is. Some hip hop attempt, I guess, which was popular at the time. Also, hip hop was getting pretty big in the early '90s, so I guess maybe that's what they were trying to do. And then Beautiful Girl, this was a big hit for them on this album. There's like 160 million listens or something to this song. I didn't care for the song at all. I have this on a skipper list. Wishing Well is another weird, funky hip hop type track that I just don't know. It just doesn't sound like them. I don't know what they're trying to do. So this one I kind of have down where I have the other albums that I really didn't like. So I have this one as number 7. This is a C. There's a couple tracks I like, and just a lot of weird stuff, and some just kind of stuff that I just didn't move me either way. And I don't know. It was disappointing coming off the high of Kick, and then dropping down a little bit with X, and then this one just kind of, it's like they lost me here. So what did you think of Welcome to Wherever You Are?
Yeah, this is the Ballad Salad album. Is this
what you have at 8?
No, I actually don't. I actually
Oh,
have one I like worse than
oh,
that. But
okay,
no, this one is my 6. So
okay,
I did like Heaven Sent. You mentioned that one.
yeah,
That one was pretty good, but there's just a lot of like sopping wet, dramatic. I don't know. It feels like a 90s album for sure for me. It's I don't know. This is the first one I listened to and it felt really long. Like it felt way longer than anything else. It's 45 minutes. I mean, it is longer, I guess, but it's just
probably a few minutes, but it feels longer than that.
yeah. It's very it's like it's not even dance rock, I don't think, like they were
Yeah,
doing before. It's more like alt rock meets like pop rock. Again, I even don't even like using rock with this one.
yeah,
I just to me it's Baby Don't Cry and Taste It, Beautiful Girl, I know. Like to me,
yeah.
like I was just like, this is kind of gross. Like I can't like it
Good way to
just it didn't
describe it.
feel like the same band is what I'm
Yeah,
saying. Like they went
totally agree.
way different. So yeah, I'm again, I'm kind of harsh on the ones like it's like a more like a half and half catalog for me. The top 5 I would probably go back and listen to at least some songs off of. The back half, and this is the probably best of that back half, but still not great. I have it number 6. I have it back in the C plus range, the C plus range. So there's some decent stuff on here, but I think the overarching theme that I've got from it was just pretty boring overall. So not a big fan. Number 6, C to a C plus for me.
Fair enough. All right, so now we get to November 1st. They just missed October with Full Moon, Dirty Hearts, Mark Opitz again. Um, as I was listening to this album, I even started taking notes on what it sounded like. And at least at the beginning of this album, they seem to be trying to write INXS music again instead of experimenting. There's really good guitar work on some of this stuff. This album is definitely top heavy for me. The first 6 songs are way better than the next 6. The only one I really like on the second half is The Messenger of the second 6 songs out of the 12. Um, but this was surprisingly good for me. I like Days of Rust. I like Make Your Peace. I like Time. I even like Please with Ray Charles. When I read that the song title and I saw it was Ray Charles, I was like, oh boy, they're gonna try to write something just completely off of what they do. This is a really good groove with some heavy guitar in here and a really good feel to it. And Ray sounds great on this song. Ray Charles sounds fantastic on here. This really fits for whatever reason. I was like, wow, I was shocked that I really liked that song. And like I said, The Messenger, which is the 11th song. Skippers, for me, there's 2 in a row that really just kind of crushed me. And that's Freedom Deep and Kill the Pain are the 8th and 9th songs. Full Moon, Dirty Hearts with Chrissy Hind is okay. At least it kind of still sounds like INXS, but I didn't care for that one. It's not as strong as the first half, the first 6 of this album, or as The Messenger, but um, Freedom Deep and Kill the Pain are just bad songs, man. They just are not good. So Cut Your Roses Down isn't much better. And then The Messenger. And then Viking Juice is the last song. Like, that could be a good song, but the vocals are jacked up. I don't know what he was doing vocally on this one. Like, instrumentally, it's okay, but the vocals are just bad. I don't know what he was going for with Viking Juice. Kind of weird name, too. But anyway, so I have this rated as a B, though. Just a solid B. I have this as number 4 on my list. This is top heavy to me, but surprisingly a good album overall for me. I had no idea this album even existed. I'm going to be totally honest. I've never listened to this album before, actually, today. I listened to this one, Elegantly Wasted, today. I had never listened to this album before, so this is one spin through this, but I really like the first 6 songs on this one, and I can see myself going back and trying to see if I really like them as much as I thought I did the first time, because there's some really good guitar work on here, man, and that's the name of the game kind of for me. Like when their guitar work is good, when Andrew's firing on all cylinders, that's what I like from NXS. Like the funkiness and the dance stuff, like I can do that if there's really good guitar work in there and it's a good cohesive song. And there's a lot of that on the first half of this album. So I have this number 4 B. what did you think of Full Moon Dirty Hearts?
Yeah, we're pretty lockstep. This is
Okay.
this is number 4 for me too. I definitely noticed the guitar. There's way more
Yes.
guitar in this, which
Way
was cool to me. It was cool to see Hutchins' voice with more guitar. Definitely, this is more like probably their most like alt rock album. I
Yes,
would say.
agreed. It's almost like they tried to go the opposite of what they just put out, too. Doesn't it seem
yeah.
like that in a way?
Yeah, I totally agree with John here that it is a shame that the previous album was kind of lackluster because they did have momentum going, and this one, if the order would have been flipped, this one might have been bigger. I think I feel like this one might have been a better hit. I definitely agree also with you. This is very top heavy. I actually don't like anything off the second half
Okay.
after the title track. So I thought all Freedom Deep, Kill the Pain, Cut Your Roses, Messenger, Viking Juice. Like I couldn't get into any of that. I do like most of the first half of it though. I do like Days of Rust, The Gift. Time is really, really good. Please, you got that. You mentioned that, Ray Charles.
Yeah.
The title track I think is pretty good with Chrissy Hind. I like it. But yeah, it's a solid album. To me, it was pretty easy to stack this at number 4. Way more listenable than 5 through 10 for me. So
agreed.
yeah, it's good. It definitely isn't as good as those first 3. It's not as good as Kick, Listen to Thieves, and X for sure. So it slit real nice, probably like a B- for me.
Yeah.
But pretty good. I was
Just the weak second half keeps it from being
Yeah.
that good. I mean, if
Exactly.
there was a couple more songs in the second half like the first half, it would be hard to say if this was 3 or not,
Right.
me,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah. I wish it would have made the conversation harder, but it did surprise me. I did not
Yeah.
see me liking this one. So yeah, the fact it was number 4 to me was like, wow, okay. But I agree with you. Like, is it because the weak stuff to me is so weak and this isn't weak? So, or do I really like it? And,
Right.
I probably will come back to it too, just to see.
Yep. Yeah, you almost have to, because I was like, "Whoa, where did this come from?" I was not expecting that. And had you ever heard this?
No,
before?
not even
Okay,
once, not one
really?
song.
Okay,
Nope.
yeah, me too. So yeah, might have found something there. So
Yeah, maybe.
hopefully. All right, on to not October again, or November, or the end of September, but April 15th, 1997, the 10th album and last that we are going to review, called Elegantly Wasted. 11 songs here, probably aptly named by Michael Hutchence, named it that. He was dead 6 months later. So Bruce Fairbairn from Bon Jovi's success and other success from the mid 80s, and Andrew Ferris produced this one. You can tell Bruce Fairbairn pulls out all of his tricks. To me, this is the best overall production and sound of all of their albums. This album has everything. It's got like stuff going on in different ears and different places behind you, in front of you. Like, it sounds awesome. It
Yeah.
really sounds awesome. I couldn't believe it. I was like, man, does this sound great? But it's just a shame because the songs aren't very good.
Right.
It sounds amazing, but the songs kind of suck for the most part. Um, Again, this is a remaster, and this is the only one available on Spotify. So I don't want to give Bruce Fairbairn all the credit. Maybe some of that's due to remastering, but I don't know. I mean, you got to record those things in all those different areas, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's got to be there in the master for it to really come out. So I feel like he deserves a lot of credit.
He killed the Bon Jovi and the Aerosmith
he
records
really
he
did.
did.
He
So
really
yeah, I
did.
got to give him credit here.
Yeah, it sounds awesome. So I just got to give it that. So they tried to recapture the magic and groove of Kick, quite obviously. I think Michael Hutchence even said that.
Yeah.
They took a break after their last album fulfilled their Atlantic contract in 1993. I think that's why there was almost 4 years here. And I guess it created a lot of personal and business friction within the band, too, with people probably wanting to get more music out, and Michael Hutchence was busy doing other things. I think he was doing some movie work in here in between, and doing a lot of drugs and a lot of other things. And I think it kind of frustrated people, and there was a lot of back and forth, I guess, there. So, which just it kind of sucks being the last album that they put out, and especially coming off of a pretty strong album. I thought, I was hoping this one would be better. I had heard a couple songs off of this, but I'd never really heard the whole thing. I was kind of done with INXS, and like I said, I didn't even know that Full Moon Dirty Hearts even came out. So I was kind of done with them at this point. But again, this didn't really impress me when I did listen to the whole thing today. My favorites are, I guess, Show Me and Girl on Fire, and I guess Shake the Tree if I had to pick a few songs. I don't really love any of those songs, but I feel like those are the three strongest tracks for me out of the 11. But again, those aren't great either. Skipper's Searching, We Are Thrown Together, Building Bridges. Like, I don't really like much of the rest of this at all. So this I have as a C plus. I had this at number 6. I feel like I gave the production / remastering a little bit more credit than maybe the album was really worth. So I think 8 is the only one you're missing, so I'd be like, this is probably your number 8.
Yes, sir. Yep.
And I can't even argue or disagree with that because it sounds great, but there's just not much here. There really isn't, which is a shame, after 4 years or 3 years of being off. But I like it, I guess, more than the early stuff. But there isn't much that really stands out to me on here. There's parts of songs that are reminiscent of the old INXS, but not a lot of whole songs, just parts of songs. I'm like, okay, this one kind of started weird at first, but the second half of it, I'm like, okay, this sounds pretty good. Not enough that I really like the whole song, but I'm like, it's just weird that there's parts of songs, but then it's almost like they had pieces of INXS songs that were good, and then when they tried to flush them out, they added parts that didn't really fit. That's kind of what it sounded like to me. So, because there are some chunks in here that are old INXS worthy, but then they just added on stuff that I'm like, what is this? So it just doesn't sound like that. But again, awesome production remastering though. So what did you think of Elegantly Wasted?
Yeah, you said most of how I felt about it. It does sound really good, but the songs are just not very good. I like the first couple, Show Me, like you mentioned. The title track I thought was decent, but past that, to me, it felt very uninspired. Like
Yeah.
to me, they don't have any like memorable choruses or memorable riffs or memorable keyboards. There's just not a lot to take out of this. So yeah, I wasn't a very big fan. I had it number 8, definitely in the C to C minus range.
Yeah.
Again, I actually think Hutchence sounds really good here. I really think that his vocals are really, really good. But the songs, I mean, you got to have the songs, and the songs are just not here. So yeah, number 8, C to a C minus. Just it's sad that they kind of lost their momentum. Like John said, it's a shame that this is how they went out. They really didn't get a chance to do much else because, like you said, about 6-7 months after this, unfortunately, he was found in a hotel room with lots of drugs in his system, and just like we lost Chester, and just like we lost
Chris Cornell.
Same exact
Hung
story.
himself. Yep. Yeah, it's a shame. It really is. I really tried to like Elegantly Wasted. Like, I feel like that was the track I was supposed to like on here, and I really tried to like it, but I just, again, it's not a skipper. I just was like, it just didn't do it for me. I really did try, but here's what we'll mention. They did have one more highlight in their career for me. They did a show done by Chris Burnett, who did Survivor, who invented Survivor, basically. He did a show called Rockstar. They went through a bunch of different singers. They even put out an album of reimagined songs with a bunch of different singers, and they toured in the early 2000s with a couple different people. So in like 2005, they were like, how can they were going to go through the whole audition process and really try to nail down another singer. Well, I guess somehow word got to this Burnett from Survivor, and he's like, well, I've been thinking about doing a show like this. You guys want to try to find your singer on like a reality show? So that show, hosted by Dave Navarro, who I don't really even like, and I don't know,
Brooke Burke.
Brooke Burke. Is it Brooke Burke?
Yep.
I couldn't know why I couldn't remember her name. Just awesome. Like they put together where they tried singers out, and the rest of the 5 band members were there, and they got to vote on stuff, and like it's just kind of like American Idol, but like they did rock songs and metal songs, and it was fantastic. It was right up my alley. I love that show so much. They tried to do Rockstar Supernova the next year, and that kind of failed. They tried to put together a super group with Tommy Lee and a few other guys, and that one really didn't work as well. I still watched the whole thing, but their ratings were terrible. But this one actually did really well, and they found a singer, Canadian guy, on this show, and I was actually kind of excited that they were going to put out another album, and then they did, and then the album kind of sucked. So I was like, when you don't have the songwriting talents of a Michael Hutchence or the frontman ability of a Michael Hutchence, it's going to suffer. And the album, what was it called? Switch, I believe. Yeah, it was called Switch. And the guy's name was JD Fortune, was the guy that they found, a Canadian guy. I guess he was living in his car under a bridge, and then he got an INXS. This guy toured globally. Then he got into drugs, and then he ended up under a bridge, living in his car again. And then INXS called him, and they tried to rekindle things with him, and it just didn't work. And I guess he says he got fired. Like, he didn't even know. He woke up one day and saw it on the internet that he got fired from the band or something, even though INXS says it was like mutual. Well, if you went back to living in your car because you burned all the money I don't really blame him for finally getting rid of you. But I thought that was kind of a funny story too. But what a great TV show that was. God, I
Phenomenal.
wish they could do something like that again, or would have done it a few years between then and now. There had to have been other bands that needed singers. I guess they tried to do Stone Temple Pilots, but they declined, and then they ended up going with INXS, which was fantastic. So anyway, just had to throw that in there. We didn't review the album because it pretty much sucked. It wasn't really worth reviewing, but what a great show that was.
Yeah. Is it on anything? I would like to go back and watch it again.
It's probably on YouTube, I would imagine, if you can find it. But
I think it was on CBS.
Okay.
Originally.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense.
So maybe it's on Paramount.
Maybe. That's what Survivor's on, so that makes sense. But yeah, all four of us really did like that show. Man, what a great idea for a show. I couldn't wait till the next week, when it came on. Like, I was recording it with the old DVR, I couldn't wait for the next show.
It was just nice.
The second season was okay, but I liked it, but it did terribly, and it wasn't nearly as good because it was like a band they threw together for the show. Yeah. So it wasn't a real band that really wanted a singer. They just... Tommy Lee and whoever the other two guys, I can't remember. They're known guys. I just can't remember who they were, but they just wanted the publicity at the time, So it was kind of thrown together, and it kind of felt like it. But I still liked it because I liked having people sing the songs that I really liked, that I grew up loving, and they're singing these songs, and I'm like, this is great because, American Idol, you get like 4 or 5 of those a whole season of songs that I just love. The rest of them I don't even know half of because I don't know all the current pop songs that are out there, So, but this was right up my alley. So good.
Yeah, just a lot of rock songs.
Yes.
They, each of them would go and sing a song every episode. I remember there was like Pink Floyd songs, like Foo Fighters songs, like songs like
Queen, they're tackling all the greats hard. It was great.
Even like Nirvana, like bands of the time, like it was so cool to see them do those type of songs.
Yeah.
So it's what I wanted to see.
Spin on it, like they had a really good backing band. Like it wasn't the INXS guys. Like they just sat up and watched. But oh man, fantastic. So I guess we're about the only 4 that really liked it because they would have been still doing it if it was.
Well, it's just hard to recapture that. I think it was.
I think you're right.
It just felt more. I guess what's the word?
Like natural, because they were doing an audition for a singer. They were a real band that was super popular,
authentic,
and it was like it was an audition that we got to watch rather than like Metallica looking for a bass player. Like it'd be cool to see that too, right? But we didn't get to see that, So
thanks for the tip here, John. I'll definitely check that out. I've never really seen them live in any capacity, so I'll check out the Wembley concert.
I have seen songs from that, but I haven't watched the whole thing. But one of these days on YouTube, I'll put it on and watch the whole thing, especially now that, I know there's more songs that I like. Obviously, they're not going to play anything off of Full Moon Dirty Hearts, but
sure.
But there are some deeper cut songs that maybe they did in there, maybe they didn't, that I'd like to try to check out. So
Yep.
So my overall, let's get into that real quick.
Sure.
Number 10, I have Underneath the Colors. Number 9, INXS. I always want to say Underneath the Covers.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh boy.
Number 9, on INXS. Number 8, The Swing. Miss. Number 7, Welcome to Wherever You Are. Number 6, Elegantly Wasted. Number 5, Shabu Shuba. So those are, I guess, Shabu Shuba is kind of in its own category. The other 5 are pretty much nothing for me. Full Moon Dirty Heads, number 4. Number 3, X. Number 2, Listen Like Thieves. Number 1, With a Bullet, not even close, Kick. How about you, partner?
Number 10, INXS. Number 9, Underneath the Covers.
Gary Beers, yes.
Nice.
Oh, man. That should be like 1A, Gary Beers.
Yeah, that's a sweet name for sure. John, you missed one of the R's and wanted Gary. I don't know.
The second Gary has 2 R's, man. Come on.
Number 8, Elegantly Wasted. Number 7, I had The Swing. Number 6, Welcome to Wherever You Are. Number 5, Shabu Shaba. Number 4, Full Moon, Dirty Hearts, Can't Lose. That's what I kept thinking of.
That's a good one too.
Yeah, like the
Full Moon, Dirty Hearts, Can't Lose from Friday Night Lights.
Brian S. brought up the Friday Night Lights to actor because we're watching that Alien Earth that's on FX. It's phenomenal. Anybody, if you like sci-fi and the Alien movies, this is fantastic.
Yeah, we're gonna watch it. I was kind of waiting for it to finish so we can watch the whole season. Is it all out yet or no?
No, I think episode 6 comes out tonight. I think 6, and I think there's 8 total, so it's getting close. But
Full Heart, Clear Eyes,
can't
lose. That's from Friday Night Lights, but that's great. I didn't even put that together.
But anyway,
awesome.
the lead actress in the Alien, Brian told me, is the daughter, the real life daughter of the coach in Friday Night Lights.
Oh, nice.
Yep. So that I thought that was cool. Anyway, number 3 is X. Number 2, Listen to Thieves, and number 1, Kick, as you mentioned. A lot
sci-fi
of the same stuff. So a lot of the same page on this one. I feel this one was a pretty easy one to order.
Yeah.
Yeah, sci-fi, John. Sci-fi.
Yeah, it was for me too. I had those 3 Bs. That I had B albums, but they were pretty easy because like the worst one for me was the earliest one, right? So it just was, and then the next one for me was the one that had the best songs on it, was the best one, the biggest 2 songs, which was X, or no, I'm sorry, no, it was not. Like Listen Like Thieves, I liked more the whole album of than X, even though X had the bigger songs. All right, I misspoke there, but Listen Like Thieves, I liked the whole thing more of. So it was kind of easy to rank those. But
thanks, Brian. Seems like that you were right, partner. The show is on YouTube, so whatever it's natively on, at least it's on YouTube. I definitely think I'm going to check that out again for sure.
Yeah, I have to. I watched it. I know I had it recorded on my DVR before I got rid of DirecTV, or it was Dish Network at the time.
Yep.
I had it on my Joey or whatever the stupid DVR name was called. I had it on the DVR and I kept it, and I watched it multiple times, but I probably haven't seen it since like 2007, 2008,
it's been a
whenever
while.
I got rid of Dish Network. It's one of those things that I was sad that I lost. I didn't have a DVD recorder at the time to record it, and it was one of those things where I just was fed up with Dish Network, and I'm like, that's it, I'm done.
I miss my DVR. I miss that.
I kept that on there forever, it seemed like. It was years it was on there, and I watched it multiple times.
I bought a TiVo when that first came out. Remember when you could buy the TiVo and you didn't have to have any specific cable or whatever?
You just ran your cable through, and you could record hours and hours worth of TV.
I
set it up
loved
like a DVR. It was great. Yep.
Every like fall season, I would program in all the new shows, and I could watch the first episode, and then I would determine if I wanted to keep recording or not, if I liked it. And I found a lot of cool shows that way. So,
me too, man. I just because you could just record stuff. Because the coolest thing was you didn't need to buy a VHS tape.
Right.
You didn't have to screw around with the VHS. Every VCR had a different scheduling thing that you had to try to figure out. So you didn't have to screw around with any of that and worry about taping over anything.
Right.
You could set it up easy, and then if it sucked, you just deleted it. Yeah. It's gone forever. It was
didn't
so
have to
easy.
worry about it.
It was beautiful.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, I kind of miss that too, but things got expensive, and I got fed up with Dish Network, and I'm like, out of here. And then I got DirecTV later, and then I got fed up with them. I got rid of them. So
Yeah.
Anyway, it's a long story.
Everybody's cutting the cord, or
Yeah,
everybody's cord cut
ago.
now. But
yeah, I did it years ago. I'm probably on year 4 or 5 now of not having any service at all.
Yep.
It's hard. I'm not
is.
going to say that
Especially
it's
for
easy.
sports.
Especially for sports.
Yep.
It's not easy, but it also has saved me a countless amount of money.
Oh, so much money. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I have to, some stuff I have to suffer a little bit, but, I find ways.
Yeah. All right. So let's
That's
talk.
all we got.
So next, I think we're going to do Journey.
Yes. John is going to do Journey with us. I think we're going to do it in 2 weeks. I can ask you off the show, John, if you want, but we're trying to decide if we want to do 11 albums up through when Steve Perry left, or if we want to do all 15. I know that John likes some of that other stuff too, and so do I, a little bit of it. So for time's sake, we were considering it, but we would like your thoughts on that as well. If you really want to do it, 11 to 15 is not that big a deal. It's not cut it in half. So, yes. So if you want to do all 15, we're not really opposed to it. But if you're cool with cutting it to 11, we might do that. Maybe we'll mention Arrival and what was the other one that Arnell did? Generations, Arrival. I mean, we can just kind of mention great songs off of them, or especially that Arrival DVD that they did with Steve Augeri that I know John loves. It's fantastic. So, I mean, we can mention those things, or we can do those albums too, but we'll talk about that later. We're going to do that in 2 weeks from tonight. So that would be 9/23, September 23rd.
And we may or may not do something next week. We might do a special.
Okay. 11 special.
Yeah, that sounds good, John.
Okay.
We may do something special next week, or we may take a week off. We'll kind of play it by ear, but we'll kind of go from there. We'll see how we're doing with Journey, and we'll throw something else together. But we'll decide, and we'll either see you next week or for sure the week after for Journey. So
sounds good, and it should,
right.
Like I said, it should be all 3 of us. John's going to join us for that one too, so that'll be fun.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, Brian. Thanks, John, for joining us. As always, we appreciate you both, and we will see everybody in the next one.
Rock on!
Looks like you've been missing a lot of work lately.
I wouldn't say I've been missing it, Bob.
What would you say you do here?
God damn it. Bob, we love playing here tonight. My brother's ready.
It helps if you think of it as a game, Bob. Every game has a winner and a loser.
You must possess strength to inflict pain, Bob.